And we should be recording. Can anybody? Yes, we are. Okay, so hi. And thanks for joining today. I appreciate all of you getting up early and being here. You all can see my screen. I hope. If you can't, please speak up in the chat room. Tanya is going to be monitoring our chat for us today, and I'm going to be in the slides. The reason we've been asked to present Screencastify and closed captioning on YouTube is because we have learners who might process better seeing and reading at the same time. Also because it's a really great way to demonstrate various processes that you might be teaching in your classrooms. So Screencastify is, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I've muted everybody so that we can all hear. Sorry. Okay, so Screencastify is a screen recorder, and it allows you to demonstrate what's happening on your screen. You can use your webcam, if hopefully you have one. If you don't, you can still screencast your desktop, or you can screencast just a tab. So you have lots of options. There are several ways educators can use Screencastify, and some of those might be instructional videos, narrating slideshows, which will probably be one of the more frequently used ways to do a screencast. And another really great way to use Screencastify is to provide feedback on student learning. So you could have possibly a student's paper that they uploaded into Google Classroom, and you could narrate some suggestions and feedback that you might have on that student's paper. And we'll get into what the Screencastify looks like in a few minutes. Are we good so far? And if you have questions, Tanya, are there any questions in the chat?
No questions. There was just a suggestion to help people open other tabs.
Okay.
If people are still having trouble with tabs, would you put it in the chat for me?
Okay. So Screencastify can be used by educators, but it can also be used by students. So you can have students explain their understanding of a concept or a math problem, or how to conjugate a verb, or any of those kinds of things. If you are a theater teacher or a speech teacher, public speaking teacher, you could have students give a speech or a performance on Screencastify. And you can also have them practice fluency. So if you have readers who are emergent readers who are learning how to read aloud with fluency, this is a great place for them to demonstrate their skills to you, for you to actually hear and critique. So we're going to watch a short screencast. It's one that sorry, I keep flipping between. I'm having trouble with my own slides and tabs. We're going to look at a Screencastify. It's very short. It's one that I made, I think last year or the year before, on how to do something in MyStar. So this is the video.
As promised, I wanted to show you how to create an attendance report so that you could look at students' range or attendance in a particular date range. So it's pretty easy. Just go to your MyStar and log in. Go to menu, go to attendance, reports, and choose class attendance counts. And you can set a date range. So I'm gonna set from March 1st through today. And here you can choose days present if you wanted. You can also choose absence breakdown by excused and unexcused. And I usually do that. That way I get a better, a clearer picture of what's going on with the student. Choose your teacher name. Press done. And choose either one class or all of your classes. So I'm just going to choose one for right now. And now I'm going to create my report. The report will come up and you'll see that I have, in this particular section of this one class, I have one student who has an excused absence, and he also has one tardy. Here you can see a student has one excused absence and one unexcused absence, and the other students, well, one has a tardy and the other two do not have anything. So that gives you what's going on with them for that particular time period, and all you do is just add it up. And I usually just make a little notation on the side. So I actually do print this and then I write my notes on it. Hopefully that's helpful. Feel free to ask me any questions if you have any.
Okay, so that was a screencast. Are there questions about what happened there or why I might have done a screencast like that? Maybe I should unmute. Okay,
I think one of the reasons you would have done something like that is sometimes it's just a good visual to see. I actually am more visual person. Like I like hearing people give me directions instead of reading a whole bunch of stuff. So just, you know, that would be for a lot of our students, that would be definitely one way of showing, you know, kind of step by step. This is exactly how, you know, I actually did this for my mom the other day, not a screencast, but I had to like record a video how to like attach a certain email, you know, because that's the way she just sees things. So some people just learn better that way.
okay. Other thoughts, guys? Okay. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to put you into Zoom breakout rooms. And I'm doing this on purpose just to show you how, if you were to do a Zoom with adults or students, depending on what the permission levels are in your school, you can create breakout rooms for people to go in and have small group discussions. So I'm going to be putting you in random groups, and I'm going to give you 3 minutes to share. And I'd like you to talk about some ideas of how you would like to use Screencastify in the next few weeks, or maybe next year when we return to school, or whether you would like to use Screencastify for something in your personal life. I just kind of talk about the different ways you might use it. And then when we come back to the full group, and Zoom will kick you out of your small group and bring you back to the full group. Designate somebody in your group to share with the rest of us. Are there any questions about what I'm about to do? So just FYI, you're gonna get kicked out of the big group. Don't worry. You're going to end up in a small group with other people. It may take 30 seconds or so for everybody to join. Tanya, are we good?
Yes, we're good. Bonfrey has a question about how you're doing this, but we could probably do
Do
that
that.
later.
Yeah, okay. So now I just have to find my controls because they was here and now I can't find it. Okay, give me a second, guys. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And all right, so I'm gonna put you into breakout rooms. Here we go. One second here. Oh. Okay, stand by. Sorry. This was working great a moment ago. Okay. Ha! I think it worked. So in this breakout room 3, it looks like Tracy Drodis and Tracy Gonzalez are in here with me. Is that true, Tracy?
Well, you asked, nope, you asked me to join breakout room 4. I just haven't hit join yet, so I'm going to join and then be alone.
Okay. You're
Is
going to
that
be alone?
okay, or do you want me to stay here?
No, you should be able to join breakout room 4 and there should be other
Okay.
people
Yep,
there.
I'll do it. I'm going to hit join. Students this week, and the feedback was pretty good that they liked reading along with me rather than their parents, just for a change. So that was nice. Yeah. So still through Google Classroom, but they were able to pause it and then come back, and it went better than just doing everything on their own.
Yeah, well, April's poetry month, so that's what I was also thinking of, maybe just like reading a poem that I like and having them, and explaining.
Scheduled, nothing's blocked, and it shows maybe that one kid's been on their Chromebook the entire day. So I thought that they might all be logging into different accounts, because I was trying to see how much time they're spending, doing classwork, and there's no indication on their timelines that they've even logged in for the day. Which I find hard to believe, out of 110 kids or whatever they have, that only 3 were logged in. So I think they are using other accounts, but I'm going to use the Screencastify because I'm having kids also get mixed up in Google Classroom, the stream tab and the classwork tab, because they're saying I can't find the assignment.
Listed item, but having students use it, do they then have to learn how to do this, and adding to the complexity and stress for that?
Here's my thought, and I'd like some feedback. I was just going to use a few minutes kind of to introduce the lesson, that use an already created YouTube video that really breaks down and goes through the lesson of, like, say, how to draw the human face better. Would that be okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, guys. So how did that work? Thoughts? And I
Pretty
think,
short.
yeah, it was 3 minutes. Do you need more? If you needed more, I was just guessing. I didn't know how much time. So 3 minutes. So you needed more time. So let's just hear some thoughts. I think all have the ability to unmute your own mic. And when you're not talking, just remute, please. So some thoughts on how you used, how you might use Screencastify going forward. I heard thoughts in the chat room, so I know people are talking about it.
So Kara, for me, I use something that Tanya sent me called, I think it's called Canvas, and it allows me to use the touchscreen to write math problems on my actual screen, and then I can record like doing the math problems and explaining to the kids the steps. For example, I just did a video lesson on how to solve one-step equations for the kids, and I was able to write it like they were right in the room if I was using the Elmo.
Okay,
And then I recorded that.
great. What other thoughts do you have?
I used it this week with students, and I read an article that was posted on Google Classroom, and they just enjoyed hearing just a different voice this week rather than their parents. So, or trying to go through it their own, because a lot of students are still kind of navigating this on their own. So they enjoyed following along. They paused it and they were able to pull up the article.
Excellent.
And can I add on to Casey's point? Yesterday during the discussion we had based on Wormley's webinar, we realized that a lot of what we're giving feedback on is just how to help kids navigate remote learning. How do you click on the right tabs? How do you fill things in? There may just be Screencastify videos on how to access your particular link for the day.
Mhm.
We're realizing students are needing that navigation help both orally and video-wise. So thanks, guys.
I want to comment on what Elisa said. I did put a link in my classroom assignment for students to find the information for the country that we were looking at. And I had kids writing things that I could tell they Googled off, that they looked for on the internet. And I had all the information set up on a nice website that would be kid friendly, but only about half of them used it because they just didn't read the directions. So had I done a Screencastify and showed them where the link was and all, I think it would have been easier for them too, because that's what they're used to in the classroom.
Great. Other thoughts?
I feel like this is really important because a lot of their parents don't know how to navigate technology right now. And so we have to show them because they may not have an adult at home to show them.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Elisa's using thumbs up icon. Good for you, Elisa. All right, what else, guys?
So just to piggyback a little bit on what Val just said, I sent out an instructional video of how to get to the student online ebook so that the parents, I sent it in a video, or I sent it in an email, the video, so the parents could see how to access the online ebook when their kids are saying, I don't know how to do it. So now the parents have the email with this Screencastify video saying, this is how you do it.
Great.
Yeah, Kara, I know this, to me, I feel like I send a lot of emails home at the beginning of the school year. I will definitely try to Castify more for parents to show them exactly those steps. This is how you can tell this, this is how your child gets into this. And so then there is that there isn't an excuse because, the parents, they're going to still be able to show the video to the child. Obviously I'd share it with kids as well, but then there isn't that excuse. I don't know. So.
Well, I'm sorry, I've used it quite a bit, but the one thing that I used it for in previous years is I would leave Screencastify videos when there was a sub. So all the sub had to do was play the videos.
That's a great idea.
And it worked out really well as long as the sub knew how to do that.
Right.
I wanted to jump in. Oh.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Well, I would say two things. Partly for me, because someone was saying this in the chat, but I get overwhelmed with technology, and I can only imagine that our students who are getting a lot of information right now about technology and different platforms. Part of what I feel like I'm learning is just like what Val was saying, like what they, or I guess a number of people are saying this, like what they don't understand or what they struggle with. And I can do my best right now to, Screencastify and explain that. But I'm also just trying to keep, I think, a list in my head of like, here are a few basic things that I want my students to know. And I hate the notion that we would be at home next year, but say we were, what are the few basic technology things that I would want to teach my students at the beginning of next year before we got into content? And that may be the case even if we're in school. Like, it's not a bad idea, just given that we use technology all year long, to pick out a few things that are essential that we're going to use all year long, that I kind of start off explaining really explicitly at the beginning of the school year. So I'm kind of thinking of these next couple of months, right? I want to make them feel less overwhelmed and connect with them, but it's also just learning for me about how to approach next year.
Yeah, yeah. I want to add, thank you for saying that, Rachel. And I'm going to dovetail over to what Bill Dyer's comment is in the chat. So Screencastify can simply be used as an asynchronous way for you to get a video message to your students. That's all it could be is, hey guys, how are you doing? I miss you. Check out my Google Classroom. You don't even have to do stuff on the screen. It can just be you talking to your students. So it can be very, very streamlined to just that. It could be a way for you to give a video message to your kids. So just if that's something that you would want to do. So it doesn't have to be a demonstration. It doesn't have to be, modeling thinking. It really can just be, this is me on the screen and I wanted to say hi to you, and you record it and then you send it off. All right, I'm gonna, other ideas, guys, before I go back to slide sharing.
Hey, Kara, it's Desmond.
Hi.
Hey, guys. First of all, I'd like to say thank you in my political hat. Thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome. I'm already learning a good deal. And I'm going to use this like for staff, like when I send stuff to staff, like I always send stuff and they're like, well, how do we get to that? Like, just like our students, sometimes I'll have an idea and I'll say, just go there. And instead of me saying, just go there, I can show them exactly how to go where I want them to go. And then oftentimes I'll send information to parents and they're thoroughly confused as how to get to certain things. So it'll be, twofold thing for staff and for parents. And I send stuff to students too. So I think this will be a great tool for me to share out to the community. This is great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we're not here like to snoop and see who's like paying it here. I'm trying to learn too. So thank you guys.
I'm glad you guys are joining in. So one other piece that thank you, Desmond, for saying what you did, because what this helps us, because we can't be with the kids in our classrooms, right? It helps us be very, very explicit with instructions. So as Desmond said, click there. Well, you can actually show where you're clicking. Or Holly, if you're doing something art related and maybe you have a board behind you and you're showing how to do this certain kind of brush stroke or how to highlight. So you can actually show very explicitly what you're asking for. So,
I was thinking, thank you for that. I was thinking of, after my introduction, then plug in a YouTube video that they can really look at and dive into the project, like how to draw the human face better was what I was thinking.
Sure.
So the first thing they'd see would be me, just to kind of introduce the project. And then on their leisure and their time during that day, is they can review that YouTube video and really dive into the project.
Exactly. Yes. And that would be the equivalent of sharing slides. No, you're just sharing a video. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Great work. Yeah. Other thoughts? Okay, well, it's 10:35, so we got a couple other things to do. So I'm gonna go back to screen sharing here. All right. Can you all see my slides? Hopefully. Yes, cool. Okay. So, all right. So the screencast piece, I'm sorry, the uploading your screencast to YouTube is a second piece to this. And I realize that we have not actually gone through and done a screencast together, and I'm willing, and able to stay on the call afterwards so that we can try to help you navigate through, and maybe Tanya can stay for a couple minutes or others, and we can help you get into Screencastify. But the next piece of this is, all right, I've created a Screencastify or a screencast, and I want to get it up to YouTube so that my students can see it or my parents can see it. And I want to also add in the ability to do closed captioning. So that's what we're going to do next. Let me make sure I'm going to the right place. Nope, go back here. Okay, so I'm actually going to walk through what this looks like. Sorry, and I'm also in multiple tabs and having trouble. So I've created several screencasts. Your Screencastify is directly connected to your Google Drive. So I'm scrolling through my drive here, and here is my Screencastify folder. Okay, so in my Screencastify folder, you'll see all of the screencasts that I've made. Okay, I'm going to show you one other little shortcut. I don't know if everybody knows about this. This is just how to navigate in Google Drive. Here's where it says My Drive. And if you click here, here are all your folders as well. Did anybody not know that? So I can get to my folders from the main drive, or I can find it here and I can go to, if I learn how to alphabetize here, go to Screencastify, and then all my Screencastifies will eventually open in this folder. Bandwidth in my house is really awful, so it's slow to load. So I'm going to look at uploading a screencast, and here is, so here's a screencast that I did. It's 1 minute and 53 seconds, okay? And it was one that I did when I was gonna be, like Josh, or no, I'm sorry, Tracy Gonzalez said, hey, you're gonna be absent from school. This is a good way for you to give some instruction to your kids. So you're going to go to YouTube next. You won't have to do this right now. The instructions are in the handout. What I'm going to do is go to YouTube. Everybody who has a Google account has a YouTube account. You will upload a video by clicking upload, and you will navigate to your desktop or to your Google Drive or wherever you store your videos, and you will upload a video. So here's a video, and all I do is put it right here, and I press, and I just drop it in. Okay, the video is going to upload. The next thing I'm going to do is just, oops, yep, I'm going to go back for 1 second. You can put in your name of your video. You can add descriptions to your video if you want. You don't have to. If you have playlists, and this is a whole nother training, but if you have playlists, you can assign your video to a playlist. And then click next. You need to select no, it's not made for kids. And I'm going to also say you need to make sure your content is appropriate for kids when you're selecting this for a school purpose. You're going to press next and press next again. Then it's going to ask you, do you want your video to be public, unlisted, or private? It's very, very important that you press public for closed captions. If you don't press public, your closed captions, I don't think will show up. That was the struggle, one of the struggles I was having yesterday. Then you press publish. And I'm not going to press publish now because this video is actually already loaded in my YouTube. So pretend I press publish. Okay. So now I'm just going to go into my videos. And let's say the one that I was working on with you right here is still uploading, and I'm going to just cancel the upload for now. And we're going to pretend that another video that I want to put closed captions on is the one I just loaded. So I'm going to click on this PSA created by Jacob a while back. And it's, yeah, lots of stuff going on the screen right now. So let me go back. See if we can get this to load. All right. So a video that has closed captioning already on it has the CC in the corner. Do you see that? I'm going to go back and find a video that I know doesn't, I have not added closed captioning to. And here's one. So this video does not have closed captioning on it. Let's again pretend it's the video that I just uploaded. Once you get to your video, you're going to press more options. And it's not letting me scroll down because I have. I'm going to press language, and here's where you're going to choose the language you would like your subtitles to be in. So I'm going to press English. Here you'll see English by YouTube Automatic. It could be Spanish, it could be French, it can be whatever language you want. You have lots and lots of languages in there to choose from. Press save. Then when I go to this video, it now has closed captioning on it. And you should be able to see the closed captions playing right now. I've got the mic muted. But let's say you wanted to change the language to something else. You go to your cog, which is this little icon here. You go to subtitles and you go to auto translate. And then you can choose a different language. And now your subtitles are showing up in French. So one thing that you're going to need to do is, if you have students who require closed captioning, you're going to need to show them how to access the closed caption and change it to the language they need for their use. Oops, English is under E, right? Okay. And if they don't want closed captioning on, they just shut it off. So I'm going to stop sharing, which I just did, and I'm going to ask if you have any questions about closed captioning. And we're good? Okay. And I think that was the last thing I had to, okay.
I have a question. because
Sure.
I'm not familiar. I don't even know how to do Screencastify at all. So I'll read your directions after this. But
Sure.
do we have to upload to YouTube? Could I just make a Screencastify and put it in my Google Classroom if I don't need the captioning because it's just pretty much a visual, or do you always upload to YouTube?
No, that it's something that you, at this point, it's just something you need to, it would be good for you to know about so that if you did have a hearing impaired student, or you need, yeah, or you had, you know, a family who's only speaks Spanish at home. If you did this, if you did Screencastify and then you uploaded to YouTube, then the family might be able to understand your instructions because they could translate it into Spanish. And also you need to know that the closed captioning is not 100% accurate. There's going to be words that are not picked up correctly. That being said, if a student is left with the option of, I'm not going to be able to understand it at all because it's not in a language that my parents understand or I understand, versus I'm going to hear 90% of it correctly, then I would opt for the closed captions. But so the answer, Gail, was a long answer there. No, you don't have to. Just know that it's there if you did need it for a family or a student who might be hearing impaired or might need a language translation.
Thank you.
Sure.
Kara, can I jump in for a second and add on to that? That's
absolutely. Yep.
Lisa. That's a great question, Gail. And I shared a video yesterday. I didn't know how to do this yet, but I was wanting to add closed captioning for a secondary reason, which is I had a tree being cut down and 3 people trying to do music in my house. I would have liked to have had the option of closed captioning because I couldn't hear anything even with headphones on when I was trying to do PD yesterday. You have families that have 6, 7 people in a single room, all maybe on one or multiple devices. Closed captioning is going to help all of our students access their learning in ways. So I just want to mention that it's beyond special ed children. It's a universal support that could help families. But again, I don't want to stress anybody out. Learn it when it's convenient for you. Use it when it's convenient for you. Thanks, guys.
Okay, Elizabeth, I unmuted you, but you might want to mute when you need to be. Sorry, I didn't see your text. Okay. Thank you, Eliza. That was really helpful. Josh Bajovi was raising his hand. So Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So I realized the way you just showed us how to upload a video. I've tried in the past, and when you're setting up when your Screencastify is done recording it, it does give you the option to share it to YouTube. Is that correct?
Yes, it does. Sorry, I missed that. Yes.
No, but I only say that because I've actually had issues in the past. Like for some reason, it gives me a lot of error messages. I'm not sure if that was with my connection, or just from my Chromebook. So I've never actually done it from my actual whatever. But maybe that's just something to throw out there.
Yeah.
It looks like the way you did it might be a bit. Like I personally have had a lot of issues uploading from the Screencastify app onto YouTube. I don't know why that is. It always gives me like an error message where it couldn't, so I'm not sure if that's a common issue.
So the Chromebook, if you're using a school provided Chromebook, is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I was using. Yeah.
They're not, the Chromebooks, they're great for a lot of things. They don't have a lot of processing power. And so it might be helpful for you to, I would at least experiment trying it with the way I did. That upload process is not as easy to accomplish with the Chromebooks. And I know that only just from my students trying to upload things from their Chromebooks and trying to send them to me, and it doesn't always work that well. So thank you for pointing that out. Other thoughts, guys? Jill, the handout information, I'll put that back. I'll add that again to the chat.
I can do it, Kara.
Thank you. Awesome, thanks. Does anybody have any other questions or thoughts or ideas?
I will say for me, I use Screencastify a lot and really only use it on my Chromebook. But I also don't upload to YouTube. I usually am just saving it in my drive, and it works well for what I need.
Yeah, I think, and I agree. I do screencasting on the Chromebook is one thing. I think it's just that upload piece that might be an issue.
Kara, I hate to interrupt. There's a question in the chat about where people can find everything related to this PD. I know people have been inundated with huge amounts of communication. Our secondary PD site, the page that takes you to it directly, which says webinars here, will always have the webinar and any corresponding documents that go with the webinar. And Kara is freakishly organized, so I know it's going to be, everything will be there. So I just want to mention that because I know people are really stressed.
Yeah. So I already, on the secondary PD site, which I think we need to find a good central place. Desmond, if you're still on the call, are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So perhaps maybe we can coordinate a way with Matt and Eliza, me and Tanya and Rory to figure out a way to get the link to the secondary PD site really centrally located that people can find and don't have to dig through.
Okay.
That's something maybe we can talk about later.
Yeah, we can
but
talk
yes,
about that.
I already have on the secondary PD site, I already have the handout for today, and I will put my slides there. And I will put this recording there, but the recording will take a few minutes. Well, it may take a while to process and download, and then I'll get it up there. So by this afternoon, it should be there. Any other questions, guys? Gals, guys and gals, people, my people. Okay, I'm gonna stop record. Oh, go ahead.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry. I'm on my headphones. So just the alternative for people that use their iPads, because I use my iPad a lot for notations and doing notes and practice problems. Screen record works on the iPad. And I know I asked you that question before because I wanted to record what I was doing on my iPad as opposed to on my computer screen. So for those of you that have touch screens, iPads and use those a lot, screen record works great on the iPad just to record what's going on your screen.
Nicole, is that one that was free? Did we end up deciding?
Yeah, it's built into your iPad.
Okay.
So you just cut it on and you can record your screen.
Awesome. Okay. Any other questions before I stop recording?
Are you saying the secondary PD site is in the Space Camp under docs and files?
That's a great question, Colleen. I don't know the answer at the moment, and that's what we need to work on. That's what I just asked Desmond about, and we'll need to figure that out.
So Desmond, we're going to be expecting a Screencastify of where the doc is so that we can find it, okay?
Nope. No, it's no, we'll get it in Basecamp. I just got to get the link, make sure I get the right link for it. I'm sure one of you guys will share that with me. But yeah, we can definitely get that link in Docs and Files in Basecamp, and that'll be a very easy location for everyone to get to it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Is that good for you guys?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. We'll do that.
Kara?
Yes.
I'm not sure if it would be helpful if you could show us on the screen how you would go about just turning your computer on, going into your Google account to get to Screencastify for the first time, to show people that actual process of, okay, I'm going to do a Screencastify for the very first time.
Sure.
What do I click on first?
Yep.
You know, that might be helpful for us to see on the screen for those of us who've never done it.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. And anybody who wants to stay on for this can stay on. You don't have to. Please make sure you log your hour of PD. And so I'll get started on that right now for you, and I will share my screen. Give me 1 second. Thank you for that suggestion, Michelle. That was good. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, but I don't have my, let's see here. Oh, now I see why you guys were struggling earlier. Okay, so what can you see on my screen right now? Can you see my dock that has all of my apps?
No.
You can't. Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Can.
It should say Google Chrome. System. You see all that, right?
Yes.
No, it's at the bottom. It's hidden by the Zoom banner.
Okay.
I mean, we can see your desktop with all the. It's just hidden by the banner that that this app is covering it up.
All right, I'm gonna try. All right, so I just moved. Did that help? Can you see where it says Google Chrome?
Yes. We can see when you hover over it that it's showing Google Chrome. So,
perfect.
But we can't actually see the actual icon.
That's okay. All right, so that's okay. So I'm going to go to Google Chrome. Now you should see a desktop that says Google on it. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right, perfect. It's hard to tell from the from my end what's being covered up for you. So once you have gone through the process of loading Screencastify or logging into Screencastify, the icon will show up in your extensions. And I use Chrome. Other people use other browsers, and you'll find something similar to this in your browser. So you should see a little orange arrow. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the orange arrow?
Yeah, thank you. I can see it.
Perfect. All right, awesome. So I'm going to click on it. And
Tara, can I ask a quick question? Forgive me for interrupting. Are you still recording? Because this may be actually helpful to add on to your webinar for today. If not, no worries. But I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I believe do you guys see a little red recording button? Yeah, I haven't stopped.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. I just thought this was really helpful.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so now what happened? So I'm going to try that again. All right, so I'm going to Screencastify. You have a choice of your browser tab, which would just be this tab here that I'm in, okay? Or your entire desktop, which would be everything on my desktop, which for me, it's easier for you to see everything on my desktop than just one tab. Now, if you're just doing something with one, like you're just showing how to do a math problem, you could just do something in one tab. That would be fine. Do you want to only have your webcam on? Again, this would be the place where you would create your greeting if you just wanted to do a webcam. It's going to ask you to select your webcam that you want to use. You're going to use your FaceTime or your built-in camera. It's going to ask you whether or not you want your microphone on, and most of the time you want your microphone on. Sometimes you can do a silent demonstration. I'm going to screencast with my desktop, with my microphone, and my webcam. So I'm going to press record. It's going to ask you to select what you want to record. I'm going to select my entire screen. It's going to give you that little countdown. It's a 3, 2, 1, and then a go. And so right now I am zooming and I'm screencastifying. Okay, so you should see my Screencastify webcam in the corner. And then I would go and I would say, oh gosh, what am I gonna do? Here's how you pick out some clip art for your PowerPoint. If you want to use things that are copyright free, you would go here, choose images, and then you want to find things that I'm having trouble even finding it right now. Here under tools, there we go. Under tools, you would click usage rights and you would choose labeled for non-commercial use. And now, guys, you have images that you can use that do not violate copyright because they are labeled for non-commercial use. So you can click on your video, or sorry, click on your item and you can save your image as, and idea bubble or whatever. Okay, so I've just created a little Screencastify. Does that make sense?
So how do you end it?
Okay.
Is there's
Coming
okay.
up. So now I'm going to, no, I'm not going to stop sharing. Yes, I'm going to stop sharing. Sorry, I was thinking Zoom. It says Screencastify. And now, can you see that this says stop sharing, or is that too low on your screen?
We can see it.
Okay, pressing stop sharing. And this is where you can, so it's going to play for you. You can trim it up if you had stuff at the beginning that you don't want. You can trim at the end if you have things at the end that you don't want. Screencastify. Okay, so there I am. You could hear me talking. We don't need to hear me talking in multiple places. And now you have, go ahead.
Sorry, Carrie, could I jump in? What's nice about this is as soon as you click that end Screencastify, this particular tab pops up automatically. You don't have to try and go find your videos.
Right.
Just want to point that out. Sorry, Kara.
So now you have options. You can share the video. Right now you can see a little status bar. It is slowly making its way into my Google Drive. I can name it. And so for this particular one, I don't always name my videos, but Screencastify practice. Okay, so you should name your videos. I always tell my students to name their videos, and I'm not following the right directions there. So we're gonna let this load into Google Drive. And once it's done processing in Google Drive, you can share it to YouTube, you can send it in an email, you can share it to Classroom. But the big thing that you have to wait for is this. And the longer your video is, the longer this will take. Okay, so slowly, 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 it makes its way there. Saving, voila, it's done. So you could copy the link if you wanted to copy the link and share the link. You can publish to YouTube. You can send in an email. You can share to Classroom. But let's say you didn't want to do any of that. Let's say, oh, I did my Screencastify and now I got to go to the grocery store. I'll come back to this.
Hold up, Kara, real quick. So instead of publishing it to YouTube, we can just share it to our Classroom that we dedicated to, say, our third hour?
Correct.
Awesome.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay.
The publishing to YouTube, Holly, was to help you enable closed captioning.
Closed captioning. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can it publish to more than one classroom? Can you click all 5 of your classes?
Yes, once you get into Classroom. See how it's, oh, maybe not. You might have to publish it individually. But you can go, all right, publish to video production and then come back in and publish to media production.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Likely when you click on that, I've seen those ones. You click on it, but then you might get the option to share it in all your classes.
Okay.
That just kind of opens up the first class, but then you usually get that option to share it to all of them.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay.
And Kara, just for clarification, when you did this practice Screencastify,
yes,
you chose webcam so that your face is in the Screencastify, correct?
Cool. But I didn't have to do that if I didn't want.
Correct. Correct. All right, thank you.
Yep.
That was exactly what I was hoping you would be able to show us, so I really appreciate that.
I'm so glad you asked. Thank you. Yes, thank you. So, all right, I'm going to go back to this, oh, I'm going to the grocery store thing, right? And I don't have time to upload to YouTube to do my screencasts. I'm sorry, my closed captioning. So pretend I've come back from the grocery store and I go to my drive. And again, Screencastify will show up in your most recent items here under quick access. You can see that it's right there. But if it wasn't, you can scroll down to Screencastify.
Does it make its own folder?
It does automatically go into its own Screencastify folder. Yes.
Cool.
Okay. And then I just made that, I called that Screencastify practice. So here it is. It's still red. Now I don't know. Yeah, it's still, oh, it's little countdown. It's a 3. Okay, so there it is. It may still be red because it's not completely processed, but it's there. Okay. So that's how you do a Screencastify. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, so let me now, because I've done a weird thing with my Zoom here. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, I think I'm back. What else can I help you with?
So there was a good question. Jill Workman asked, can students pause and rewind? And yes, she was just saying that from the student side, what are they able to do with your video? So they're able to pause and.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So a student can watch the video, and I do this with my video production students because they're doing a lot of computer work in my class. And so I'll give them a little demonstration on how to get to a certain tool, for instance. And so they'll watch, they'll pause, then they'll do a little bit, then they'll watch, they'll pause, and they'll do a little bit. And it's kind of like, you guys, like all of our kids know how to use YouTube for tutorials or for gaming, and they watch and they play and they pause and they watch and they play and they pause. I mean, they are used to this process. It's just a different interface. They don't know how to translate from YouTube to a different interface. So you're going to need to help them with that. Okay, looks like people are signing off. I don't want to keep you longer than you want to be here, but you're, again, happy to answer any questions.
Kara, can I ask a request? On the secondary PD site, I know this has been shared quite a few times in quite a few places. There's awesome directions that I think you and Tanya shared in terms of how to extend past the 5-minute limit.
Yes, that's those are in the instructions that I put together for this PD that will be on the site. Yep, already.
Thanks, Kara.
Yeah. And just so you know, as of yesterday, Screencastify extended their their unlimited use till May 31st, and my guess is it will go beyond that. Okay. Now
I think Holly's trying to sell something to us.
Holly? I can't see what he's doing. Maybe that's private. I don't see it.
He had a piece of paper he was holding up, and I
I can't see.
And I'm like, what does it say?
It's for sale. His paper's for sale.
Oh, his art is for sale. That's beautiful. How much? But you know what? Your paper is backwards. So you have to write backwards.
Part with it for $1,200. Okay. It is the 1999 gold medal exhibition winner at the Scarab Club, so it's got some history.
Oh wow!
Best of show.
All right.
He must not have got his Trump check yet.
1,200. That's what it is.
Actually, I did. It's.
All right. I'm going to stop recording, guys.